Hi guys, this is Oshi and this is going to be a video response to Becca because I just watched her video, and even though I commented, I kind of thought that she highlighted some points that I wanted to talk about, because I like having conversations, and that's one of the things that is part of why I want to talk about it. So basically her video was about FOMO and how it affects all of us, and not just tarot or just in life general. And uh, it's FOMO is absolutely real. Obviously, most of us experience it, and even if we don't experience it with tangible things, because I was wondering about this. If you have a lot of money and you can just buy whatever, I think you're still experiencing that. You just have a means to act on it, which I know it sounds better than not having the funds to buy everything, but in reality, it's probably not, because you end up with a lot of things that you don't need. And I'm really talking about when you're buying something that you're buying it for that moment of rush, because you're going to be part of that community who buys the same thing. So I'm not talking about people just buying decks. This is not about that, and it not doesn't even have to be about decks. But Becca said, and she was right, and I think it that can be very helpful. That when it comes to tarot decks, at least, that these are tools that we use when you're not a collector and you use your decks. But if you have a collection, you still curate it in a way so you can find a way to find a place for that deck in that collection. That can also help to not get everything or all the decks you see. And FOMO might be generated by these conversations that we see online, when people are getting ready to buy a deck and they're excited and they share that excitement. And I don't think that taking back from that, not feeling the excitement is the solution, because that just dims someone's happiness. I was thinking that, why are we buying these decks so readily or so? And I absolutely just experienced this 5 minutes ago when I bought a ticket to a stand-up event. And when I was waiting for some technical, things that I had to ask from the site, and I was waiting for an email, I was like, oh, I just don't want the place in the front line, not in the middle, because all of those were sold out, unfortunately, but in the side to be, gone, because I remembered how much I enjoyed his first show that he had here 2 years ago, which is ridiculous, but understandable. And I was definitely experiencing the I have to get it, I have to get it, because I was thinking about I was missing out on that feeling, on that experience. And I think with decks we still want to buy those, and I realized that about half a year ago, 6 months ago, probably. I don't even know which deck was that, and fortunately, I didn't buy too much decks, but I felt like, oof, it's just not working for me. But I realized at some point that when I was watching these walkthroughs, what I'm trying to buy when I'm buying those decks that they are so enthusiastic about, is I'm trying to buy their experience, with the deck. But it's not just that I'm not the same person. Is I usually don't have the years and years of practice of reading. So I think that's one of the things that we are trying to buy, and that's why FOMO is so strong. That because we think that if we buy that deck, that a seasoned reader is so excited about, because they know based on their experience and their taste in decks, that that's gonna be an amazing deck for them. We're kind of thinking the same, that that, oh, we just have to practice, and we're gonna be as good as them if we buy that deck. And I think that's just one thing that can factor into FOMO. But also the biggest thing is, just like Becca said, is being part of a community. And I don't know how other people's life circumstances and friendship groups are, but most of my tarot friends are online, and I only have two people in town that I can actually talk cards about. But one of them is not as close, and so we don't go and visit each other and show our deck collection, stuff like that. The other one is a much closer friend, but she doesn't have such a big, because compared to her I have a big collection already. And even though I always show my decks to her, um, and she showed me her decks as well, I can't use these friendships as how I have fountain pen friends, because even though we haven't had a fountain pen group meeting since the beginning. I think we had one in the beginning of 2020, but I'm not even sure. We had a monthly meeting where we showed each other our newest pens, newest inks, paper, notebooks, whatever. And that helped because, those urges when you really want to buy a really pretty fountain pen can be, they can be gone if you have a chance just to look at it once, because it's kind of, sometimes it's enough. And I think with fountain, with the tarot decks, it can be the same. So what I'm kind of trying to say, that if you have people around you, they don't have to live, next door. But if you have people in town, try to set up meetings and meet once a month, show each other the decks, because that can help with FOMO a lot. And I think so, because like I said, my experience, it works well with fountain pens and inks. And I know that with a lot of decks, if I had the chance to see them in person, I wouldn't want them anymore, because I would realize something, that hey, this is not working for me, even though I thought that they would, or that deck would work, because I saw the pictures and I saw the walkthroughs and I was like, oh, that's a perfect deck for me. And two examples for that is, one of them is the Santa Muerte Tarot, which is a really good deck. I love the box. I love the skeletons and everything, except this specific type of digital art is just something that I don't like. And I didn't know, even though I watched the walkthroughs, but looking at the deck in person is quite different. And I'm not letting go, because I kind of still want to use it, at least not now. I kind of don't feel like letting go any of my decks, because why would I don't really have an easy option to swap them or sold them. So yeah, I don't want to do that. But I didn't regret it, but I think if I had the chance to look at the deck in person, I don't think I would have bought it. And the other one is the Threadbound, no, not the Threadbound, the Threads of Fate Oracle. I think that's the name, the pretty one. And I wanted the Shadow, I think that's the one, the darker one, the Shadow version. And I might want the other one, the light purple version. I don't know the names of it, sorry. But I had the chance to look at the Shadow one in person, because a friend in a different city who sold me this deck, she bought that deck, and I had the chance to look at it, and I don't like that color of the gold foiling on the deck. So I was like, oh, okay, and I don't want it anymore. So even though there are a lot of pretty decks, because tarot decks are pretty, if you can, and just my add-on to the conversation, maybe, that if you have a chance to meet people and look at decks, that could help with reducing the FOMO, especially because we're trying to not miss out on being part of the community, being part of the conversation. And obviously, when you upload a walkthrough of a deck that a lot of people want to look at, you will have people coming in and chat and maybe stay on your channel and subscribe and um, participate in live chats or or Facebook, whatever. So you find community through these decks, but we can do that without buying a deck. It's just harder because you have to be more open to meet people in real life if you can, or you have to just realize that, okay, what's the difference between wanting a deck for, a legitimately good reason for you, and that can be very, very, different for everybody. Like I said, I'm not saying that if you can and want to buy every new deck that comes out, you shouldn't. No, if that makes you happy, do it. But Becca also mentioned something that I think it's very telling, is that when she canceled the pledge on Kickstarter, she felt relieved. She felt, calmer and like, that was the good decision. And I think sometimes I experience the same thing when I really get like, but I really want that, but I really want that. And then time goes by and I don't get it. And I'm like, okay, but a different deck came along and that was so much better. So you can, use the cliche that, what you have to have will be yours anyway. And maybe missing out on something is the universe's way to protect you from something. Maybe just spending money on something that will prevent you to spend that money on something better later. I know that this can be, ridiculous for some people, but you can use that. And also, window shopping is fun. You don't have to buy everything. You can just go around, put them in your cart, and then delete them later, or just leave them there. And if you don't have a problem with that, because I know some people struggle with putting things in carts because they much more easily buy them. But what I do, because I'm mostly buying decks on Book Depository, I created wish lists and I'm adding them, and then I go back and I look at it and I do I watch walkthroughs and I make notes if I decide against the deck. So next time when it comes back, because everybody talks about that deck again, I can go back and look at my notes that, hey, I like this one, but I said this and this, that's why it's not gonna work for me, and that still applies. So I shouldn't get it. So I think FOMO doesn't go away just on its own because you realize you have a problem, or it's an issue for you. This is that's why the title, if I remember correctly, and I titled it that FOMO is the devil, is because the devil for me, the card, is a test. You get the devil card when you reach a certain conclusion, you reach a certain level, or whatever state in your life regarding something that wasn't good for you, and you're like, okay, I'm ready, I left it behind, and no, I'm not gonna do it anymore. And then the devil comes back or comes around, and yet he's like, are you sure? Let me test you, and put something in your way that you either fail because you didn't really work on that problem as much as you thought, or you can walk away and say that, yeah, I was able to do that. So these are tests that universe, we, higher self, whatever, constantly put in front of us just to measure our progress. And if you look at it that way, it's not that horrible if you fall, and you buy something that you don't want, because then you realize that, okay, this is just something that I need to still working on. But just like with a lot of things in life, you can ask for help, and yeah, try to reach out to friends and go for a walk instead, if you can, instead of buying. But like I said, don't be too hard on yourself. And I don't know if this makes any sense, but I kind of wanted to talk about it. Yeah, so yeah, I just did. Thank you so much for watching, and any thoughts, comment down below, because let's have a conversation, because building community and making friends is what is this channel and what me and what this whole topic is about. So yeah, thank you. Bye.